let's see. Martin Archer says, have I seen the feature-length Armstrong documentary, which came out last year just before the... Yes, I did. It was excellent. It was excellent. It's apparently coming out... Oh. Yeah, I thought it was absolutely great. And if you haven't seen it, you definitely should go see it. It was terrific. Um, So finally, he got a little bit of the credit he deserves. That the feature film was just absolutely appalling. All right, I'm going to just answer one more from John Frost here. It's just the next one on the list. How about a taste of what your State of the Union address would sound like? I'm assuming that means today. Damn propriety and decorum, no holds barred, no quarter given or taken. Could you please release the hound of cultural war so we can witness the power of our fully operational virtual president? Thank you. I've been getting more and more convinced of this, that it's actually time to go on the cultural offensive. I know that sounds kind of... It's always time to go on the offensive, but I don't think you could have pulled it off until now. I think people need just to stand up and basically, since you want to hear it, it's not rehearsed, but basically, what I would say is the days of the good, decent, tolerant people in this country having their lives run by the craziest people in the country are over. Those days are over. We're happy to be accommodating, but we are no longer going to run this entire society according to the whims of the most hysterical people in it. Those days are over. If you don't like the fact that there's a nativity scene in the town square, then I almost said I'm sorry, but I'm not. That nativity scene was in that place when you moved in because it's been there for 150 years. And if you don't like it, you shouldn't have moved there. And furthermore, if you want to put up a display of your flying spaghetti monster on your own property, you're absolutely, certainly able to do that. You don't need my permission for it. But the days of the sane people being corralled by the guilt induced by crazy people is over. It's done. The race card is done. The victim card, it's overdrawn. We had to tear it up. Had to cut it with a pair of scissors. We are not gonna. It's not a question we're not going to take it anymore. We're just not going to do it anymore. That's it. We're done. Men cannot run biological males. And how do we determine this? We can do this very simply. If you have a Y chromosome, you don't get to run in the same race as people who don't. That's it. Period. And I'm sorry if this hurts the feelings of one or two people, or 10 or 100, but hurting people's feelings is not a way to run the world, because if I had the power that you wanted, none of you would be able to say a word because everything you say hurts my feelings. No, it's over. We're not going to do it anymore. We're not going to do it. I did this thing on the nurse, what's her name thing, where she said the best way to remain free of sexually transmitted diseases is to wait until marriage. She was called a hater, needless to say, an awful person, and so on. She's just speaking the truth. And then she took down the segment and apologized, and that was the mistake. Because when you apologize, it's they win, and you reward them. I have an example of this in my life. I have a cat I like that I love very much named Bean, and he has diabetes. We found out about this quite a while ago, and that means he has to get a shot twice a day. Now, Bean, I got from the shelter, and he had been one of like 25 or 30 cats with a crazy woman. So Bean and I are really close, but he does not like being cornered or in any. He's not. He's a little neurotic when it comes to that. So I realized that the only way to get the shot into him twice a day was to have a place where I would give him special treats, because he loves those things, because he didn't get enough food either. He had to fight for his food all the time, that poor Bean. And I put a regular place down, and I would give him some special treats, and while he was eating the special treats, I'd give him the shot. because of the first couple weeks, I had to like hold on to him, and he's digging his rear claws, 2 inches into my thighs. So I decided to do it this way, and now he starts knocking on the door and waking us up at 5 o'clock in the morning because he wants his special treats, and this is called spoiling people, and that's basically what we're doing. We're spoiling the crazies by letting them have their way all the time. I love the fact that this country is so unusual and weird and different, and my wife points it out to me every day. She's even fonder of it than I am. I genuinely do. I think it's a great country that can build jet-powered outhouses and all of it, even the stuff on the other side. But the idea that the majority of people, the vast majority of people, have to do what they say, otherwise we're bad people, I would just come out and say this is just a lie, and everybody knows it. We're not bad people. We're just tired of being told what to do by people who are nuts. And that's the part you have to do. You can't just come out and say, this our friends and the differently abled and all of this. No, you just got to come out and say we're no longer going to govern society in accordance with what the people who are the nuttiest in the country tell us that they want. We're not going to do it. We'll do everything we can to be inclusive and decent and all that, but we already did that. And we put your special treats down to help take away the sting of the needle, and now you want them all the time. So no, not going to happen. That's what I would do. And I am seeing so many signs out there that this thing is not. You get this. What's it called? A preference cascade, where as more and more and more examples of conservative ideas are raised despite the headwind, it becomes more and more acceptable for an individual to express those things, and that makes it more and more likely, which means it happens more and more often, which means it's more likely, and it's just a tipping point. And I'm seeing them everywhere. When they do Mandalorian and they do Ghostbusters to try and make it up to the fans, there. In Rise of Skywalker, which was appalling, it was the corporate side decided to ruin the other half of the thing that the progressive side had ruined. In any event, when Ricky Gervais got up in front of those people, this is important. And some of the people who I listen to, I got to tell you about one guy I've just heard all just absolutely crazy about. When Ricky Gervais got up there, and it's just unheard of in 2008. It's unheard of in 2016. But people have had enough. And, I mean, they've had enough across the board, had enough. And even the guys who do nothing but talk about Star Wars they're not just saying we don't want this stuff, but they're saying what the real point of it is. They're saying it's so old and tired and nobody wants it. This was in regard to Picard, Star Trek Picard, which by all accounts is only happening because oh my Lord God. Because Patrick Stewart is so opposed to Brexit and Trump that he agreed to come back to Star Trek, on the condition that he would be a producer on the show and be responsible for the kind of content. He got the original showrunner fired. So Star Trek Picard is not going to be anything like the Picard from Next Generation. Star Trek Picard is going to be a 78-year-old guy lecturing us on what we should think. And it's going to tank. And yeah, and Doomcock, he's awesome. Doomcock was basically saying, if you haven't seen him, by the way, he's awesome. He's fantastic. He's mostly a pop culture critic, but the thing about Doomcock is, because he's the future ruler of the Earth, and since he transmits his message from the center of the planet right in front of his gigantic antimatter reactor, he has a kind of authority that I don't. And this cheesiness, by the way, is awesome. I can give you 3 examples of things that I've seen that not only that not only have bad production values but celebrate them. This is not exactly a political revolt. This is more of a stylistic revolt against production, and I think it's because in order to have production values, you have to have money. That's why this show looks so good. And so what they've done is they've content providers now are they're not only making fun of the fact that they don't have production values, they're glorying in it. Doomcock has a mask that's made out of cardboard, and he's been doing a lot of videos, and it's starting to get a little shaggy. And he doesn't do anything about it because it is ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that you have to worship him. He's the reason Doomcock is the future ruler of planet Earth is because he says he is, and he says so with his helmet and his uniform on. Critical Drinker is great. There's a guy who's I'm not so much into in terms of delivery, but he's got some excellent points on him. Nerderotic. I watch his stuff frequently. But I have to tell you, I now have a new favorite, and I've binge watched probably 60 of them. And I'm tempted to include it, but if I do, I'm going to run into the same copyright issues as I did with Azorian on the last one. If you haven't seen this, they're brilliant. But there's a guy's got a website called Screen Rant, and he does something called a pitch meeting. And in the pitch meeting, he plays the writer who comes into the studio to pitch idea for a movie to the studio executive, also played by him, simply in reversals with Literature Devil's great too, here he is against one green screen background, here's the reversal. But the thing about this guy is that he'll take a movie that we've seen, he'll go back to he'll do the pitch meeting for Aliens or for films that were made 15, 20, 30 years ago. And what he does is he comes in and says, and the genius of this actually is, and I've been listening to so much of this, I've been thinking about this quite a lot lately, is that in his 5 or 6 minute pitch meeting things, it's all the format's always the same. This writer comes in to pitch an idea for a movie like Ghostbusters or whatever, and then the studio executive, who's an idiot also, it says, well, if they do that, then shouldn't this have happened? And all of the plot holes, all of the immediately obvious things that are there when you read a script like that critically, he brings them up with that, and then the writer guy just says, not going to be a problem. And the thing about this guy is that he's got probably, in any one of these 5 or 6 minute pitch meetings, I think he's probably got 5 running gags. They're almost catchphrases. Every single one of these episodes will have at least one of them, and almost always all 5 of them. They're little transactions, and because he doesn't amplify them, because he plays them as straight as he did when he first introduced them, they still work with me. They just get me to laugh, and I want a T-shirt. One of them is won't it be difficult to explain how Palpatine survived the explosion of the Death Star, and I said, no, it'll be super easy, barely an inconvenience. That's in every one of the episodes. And all of these little dynamics are in all of these episodes. Did you forget to pay that off? I guess I did. Whoopsie. It just, every single time it comes back, it makes me happy. It doesn't just make me laugh. It makes me feel good, because there's something about this kind of repetition. It is, without question, it's the same dynamic that drove nightmares like the catchphrase sitcoms. Hey, Fonzie would come out and the audience would go nuts. And after a while, if he doesn't come out and start with "hey," then they're shattered. And this guy, when I listen to his pitch meetings and point out because it's not just fun. If it was just fun, you'd get tired of it. It's deep and fun. He takes the scripts apart the same way that Critical Drinker or Red Letter Media does, and he will bring to your conscious mind Yeah, dynamite. There's another one. There's a bunch of them. He'll bring to your conscious mind how stupid this story really is, the kind of plot holes that are really there. He did one on Shazam, which I like quite a bit. I know Zach pretty well, actually. I used to spend a lot more time with him than I haven't seen him in a while, but he's a great guy. And in that movie, you find out that he's abandoned by his mother. They go to the mother's got no money. They go to a like Coney Island or something, and she sees that she's left the kid alone. And he's gone to the cops. The cops are going to take care of him, and the mother decides that she's going to let the cops take care of him because she can't. And then so she just abandons her child, and then the producer says, "What do you mean? Just lets him go with the cops? Things don't work like that. What do you mean? Did the cops not think of checking her address or where she lives? Did they not try to make an effort to find out who the mother was? No, they just basically just took him. Oh, okay then. Why don't they look for this guy's mother? I don't know. Okay." It's just, I'm really just mashing it, but it's brilliant. In fact, it's so brilliant that it gave me an idea of something I'd like to do when I get done with the Cold War thing, and that is steal it, just rip it off, where you basically ask a question and then answer your own question, and it's the pace, the editing, it's like machine gun bullets. There's no delay at all, nothing. It just goes 5 or 6 minutes, and I thought, you could probably do this where I could have me as me, and then I could have a reversal of me with the Bernie hair on, and glasses and a Che T-shirt, and it would be somebody trying to explain socialism. Yeah, so we're going to have everybody's going to work and get paid the same. What about the people who don't work? They get paid the same too. So why would I work if I get the same pay as when I'm not working? Because you believe in the idea. The idea that everybody's working. So I'm going to believe in the idea that everybody has to work in order to work for no pay. This kind of thing, you get it. I'm really thinking about doing it. I think it'd be a fun way to look at some foundational things. Is to start with, I'm heading to TikTok. Is just start with their premise, not our premise. Start with their premise and make them explain. Goatee would be great. I'll look like Malibu Trotsky. Make them explain their philosophy, and then ask them the logical questions that you would ask as this guy does when he examines any particular movie script, and just leave it to people. It's like, that's not how things work, and point it out. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Anyway, I've got some writing to do and some other things. I'm going to do a little work on the character stuff, get some of that software reinstalled. So I'm going to wrap this one up. I will upload this one right away, and I will get to fixing the sub issue tomorrow. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, man. So I guess that'll do it. Sorry if I missed your questions. I know it's frustrating, but there it is. We offer full refund for the program. Not for members, obviously, but you get the idea. Anyway, it's time for me to go. I got a lot of stuff I have to do. I usually don't get to sleep much before 2 a.m. as a general rule, and 2 or 3 days a week I have to be here in the chair at 7:30. So over the course of a week or so, that's a pretty big sleep debt. But anyway, I'm going to try and get some of this stuff done. So as always, thanks to the members at BillWhittle.com for making this possible. If you're not one, we could certainly use your help, and really looking forward to the cruise. So we're going to see a lot of the people who watch the show live, and a lot of other people too, out there. And if you're worried you don't know anybody, you're just going to be your chance to go out and meet your best friends in the whole world who you have not been introduced to yet. But that's going to be fun too. So that's at BillWhittleCruise.com. That'll do it for this edition of the Stratosphere Lounge. Again, made possible by the members at BillWhittle.com, and I imagine that we will see you next week right here at the same bat time and same bat station.